Hello. Today we're going to look at the Tesla announcement live. I've heard a lot about it, but I'm excited to take a look at the announcement and analyze and think what it means for our society and for the tech world from the technological aspect. So let's take a look and cut past the hype and see what can this technology do or not do, and what are the opportunities or dangers we've got. We'll be watching this at double speed. Oh, those are kind of cool. Tron-like bikes. It was a pretty impressive entrance, I gotta say.
Welcome to the Wii Robot Party.
It's interesting seeing how this is kind of a callback to iRobot. We're actually been watching that movie as a family, kind of thinking about how that connects.
So they've been traveling. There's no people in them, as you can see. The car's just going by with no people.
Okay, so these are fully autonomous.
We have 50 fully autonomous cars here tonight. So you'll see Model Ys and the Cybercab, all driverless. You'll be able to take a ride in the Cybercab. There's no steering wheel or pedals. So I hope this goes well. We'll find out.
It's been a long time coming. They've been working on this for a while, and there's still, so far, been a lot of kinks.
Where, the future is dark and dismal, where it's not a future you want to be in. So, I love Blade Runner, but I don't know if we want that future. I think we want that Duster he's wearing, but not the bleak apocalypse. We want to have a fun, exciting future that if you could look in a crystal ball and see the future, you'd be like, yes, I wish I could be there now. That's what we want. So
I can relate to this. This is the two things I most hate in the modern world. Number one is colds, the common cold, and number two is traffic. So one of the ways I solved this was by moving out of the city into a rural area. But this is true. Like, cities, one of the flaws is just the transportation system. So I love the problem that's being solved here. Like, improving this is huge.
Where the car, you could fall asleep and wake up at your destination. So, but there's also a challenge.
Yeah, this is one of the paths forward. I think another path forward is going more towards walkable, bikeable cities, so that people can be connected with each other as opposed to disconnected the way cars work. But if you're gonna live in a car city or transportation city, might as well make that better.
So you could actually, for the same car, would have 5 times as much value, maybe 10 times as much value. There's 168 hours in a week, and like I said, only 10 of them are used for driving. So, and then a bunch of those hours are looking for a parking spot, which is, could be for times. So we want, with autonomy, you get your time back. This is a very big deal. So it's not just it'll save lives, like a lot of lives, and prevent injuries. I think we'll see autonomous cars become 10 times safer than a human. And if you think of times past where there used to be an elevator operator in every elevator, but once in a while they get tired and accidentally show somebody in half. So now we have automated elevators. You just get an elevator and you press a button, and you don't even think about it, and it just takes you to the floor. And if you did see an elevator operator with a big relay switch, you'd be like, that's weird. Now that's how cars will be. And it's not just the lives saved in injuries, but if you think about the cumulative time that people spend in a car and the time they will get back that they can now spend. Well, I guess
that's another really good point. Like, in theory, if we can make vehicles safer, transportation, car crashes are one of the leading causes of death in America today. So this is a much needed kind of technological solution.
I think the cost of autonomous transport will be so low that you can think of it like individualized mass transit. The average cost of a bus per mile for a city, not the ticket price because that is subsidized, but the average price is about $1 a mile. Whereas the cost of Cybercab, we think probably over time, from the operating cost, is probably going to be around 20 cents a mile. And price, including taxes and everything else, probably ends up being 30 or 40 cents a mile. So yes, and you will be able to buy one. Yes, exactly. And we expect the cost to be below $30,000. So. And I think there'll be an interesting.
I really like the sleek, futuristic design. I know when Cybertruck was first announced, it was kind of weird and boxy.
10, 20 cars, and just sort of, take care of
But
it.
now that we're starting to see
You have your flock of cars.
more
Shepherd, you take care of
vehicles
the cars.
sitting in a similar aesthetic that's kind of sleek and futuristic,
It's gonna be a glorious future. It's gonna be really something special.
I like
So,
the vision here. It's definitely forward-leaning. It's definitely kind of a new take. It's very
we
ergonomic
expect
and
actually to start fully autonomous.
very minimalist in its own way too, which there's a lot to say about that.
And that's obviously with the Model 3 and Model Y. And then we expect to be in production with the Cybercab, which is really highly optimized for autonomous transport in probably, well, I tend to be a little optimistic with time frames. But in 2027.
Everyone's
so
optimistic with time frames.
before 2027, let me put it that way.
This is a common
we'll make this vehicle
theme in technology.
But well before that, you'll experience a robotic taxi via the Model 3 and Model Y program, and Model S next too. But the 3 and Y will achieve unsupervised full self-driving with permission in wherever regulators essentially approve it in the US and then to follow in outside the US. So, and it's Cybertruck too. Yes, of course. Sorry, I don't want to be. Yes. All our cars, basically, all cars that we make. So, let's not get nuanced here. All right, next slide. So, one of the reasons why the computer can be so much better than a person is that we have millions of cars that are training on driving. So it's like living millions of lives simultaneously and seeing very unusual situations that a person in their entire lifetime would not see. But hopefully, yeah, exactly. So with that amount of training data, it's also going to be much better than what a human could be because you can't live a million lives. And it's also it can see in all directions simultaneously, and it doesn't get tired or text or any of those things. So it will naturally be, like I said, 10, 20, 30 times safer than a human just for all those reasons. And I want to emphasize that the solution that we have is AI and vision. So there's no expensive equipment needed. So the Model 3, Model Y, and S and X that we make today will be capable of full autonomy unsupervised. And that means that our cost of producing the vehicle is low. Now, we are going to actually overspec the computer for the Cybercab. So our AI5 computer will be somewhat overspec. And because I think there's actually also an opportunity, sort of like an Amazon Web Services, where if the car's driving for 50 hours a week, there's still over 100 hours left. And there's a potential there to have a massive amount of distributed inference compute, where if you've got, like, say, a fleet of 100 million vehicles...
It's an interesting take, being able to outsource computing power.
100 gigawatts of compute, which is really quite substantial. And it's there, you might as well use it. So, yeah, so that I think will make sense. So, all right, so our autonomous future is here. As I said, we've got 50 Teslas driving autonomously. We're trying to give you a sense of what cities will be like in the future. And when you get in, you'll see like it's really quite a wild experience to just be in a car with no steering wheel, no pedals, no controls, and it feels great. So, and we've had enough vehicles here, so everyone should be able to try it out and experience the set that we built here. It's a very big set, so it's like really we've used several, I don't know, 20.
Yeah, so I think one of the fears here is if there's no way for manual control, then people are at the whims of the vehicle and the technology in play. And I think that trust isn't fully there. People already know that software systems and technological systems sometimes have outages or inconsistencies. And also there's the question of, can there be bad actors who can compromise the system, or not even bad actors, but owned actors who are controlling things for their own purposes? That's perhaps the element of this that taps into the fear mentality. We see even in the movie I, Robot, Will Smith, he manually drives his vehicle, which is uncharacteristic in that scene. I think the positive side is kind of all the things that he's pitching. If the trust is there, if we do know that the robots aren't being used, compromised for nefarious reasons, and if they're reliable, then this is incredible. This looks like a little miniature subway car. That's my feel watching the sliding doors and the people getting out. It feels like people leaving a subway car.
So if you want to take a sports team somewhere, or you're looking to really get the cost of travel down to, I don't know, 5, 10 cents a mile, then you can...
Also useful for large families. I have a few siblings, so this approach is pretty useful.
The future should look like the future.
I like the aesthetic vision. There's a lot of people in tech who are thinking just about function and not form. To be able to do both at the same time is really forward-looking.
The software, the AI inference computer, it all actually applies to a humanoid robot. It's the same techniques. It's just a robot with arms and legs instead of a robot with wheels. And we've made a lot of progress with the Optimus. And as you can see, we started with someone in a robot suit, sort of that, and then we've progressed dramatically year after year. So if you extrapolate this, you're really going to have something spectacular, something that anyone could own. So you can have your own personal R2-D2 C3PO.
So I think this is the biggest announcement here. we've known that autonomous driving is happening, and that's one of the paths forward.
But fundamentally, at scale,
This
the optimal
potentially
to buy an optimal
massively changes what's
$20,000
possible.
$30,000 one time. So, and what can it do?
$20,000 to $30,000 sounds insanely cheap for the value it can provide. If this really delivers, like, that's insane.
And yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I think this will be
Spending that on household chores, even if you didn't put it to work doing other things, would already be absolutely worth every single penny.
everyone's gonna want their Optimus Buddy.
I think this is one question: is there going to be a subscription fee? Like, are you going to have to buy this and then also pay a subscription, or is it a one-time purchase? Because $20,000 to $30,000 sounds just crazy cheap.
The cost of products and services will decline dramatically, and basically anyone will be able to have any products and services they want. It will be an age of abundance, the likes of which people have not, almost no one has envisioned. It will be something special. So, now one of the things we wanted to
I love the vision
was,
being pitched here.
Optimus is not a can-do
Like, I think this is one of the worlds we can go to, especially if we lean in towards abundance mentality and away from scarcity mentality. This is possible.
And you'll directly, I mean, that's just, it's a wild experience just to have humanoid robots, and they're there, just in front of you. So, yeah, with that, let's party.
This is an impressive presentation. Very tight.
Let's get the party started.
3 big announcements is massive. Let's skip ahead a little bit, see what robots can do besides dancing. Dancing is cool, but I think that's not one of the key things we're looking for in the tech space. The hand motions seem a little awkward, but does seem capable of performing the function. I think one interesting question is, are these right now being human controlled, or are they autonomous or semi-autonomous? And then what's the latency? I know latency is going to be an interesting thing, is how responsive do the robots feel to interact with? And also, how efficient are they just reacting quickly and performing tasks? Like, that's going to make this work really nicely or not. That's one of the challenges with some of the, even the AI solutions we have today, is that the latency can create a little bit of a delayed effect for everything. We see this with programmers with their programming pause, the cursor pause as you type something and then wait for the LLM to fill in some proposals. Or even with some of the voice agents that we see, where after you're done talking, then there's a little delay before the AI agent starts talking. How can we cut that latency down? I'm curious how good the latency response is for these Optimus robots. Yeah, I want to see more of what the Optimus Gen 3 can do. That seems interesting to me. I wonder if there's more videos I can find on that somewhere. Okay, well, I'm gonna wrap this little video up right now. Yeah, I think the thing that to me that's the most exciting here is the Optimus robots. Those are potentially just societal life changers, and they do make some of this utopian vision that Elon's got possible. I think renovating and reimagining transportation is big, but and I suppose there's, transportation is a big part of the modern life, but even in a world that becomes more decentralized and more horizontal instead of vertical, everybody has got tasks that they'd like to have robots do that are repetitive, that are low leverage. So being able to outsource that to a robot for crazy cheap prices, that could totally change what humans are capable of doing, how we spend our time. We see through history, there have been several revolutions that changed the nature of human existence. We saw that, early with the agricultural revolution and the tooling revolution, as people created tools to be able to do things more effectively and grow food more effectively, so we didn't have to spend our time as humans like hunting and gathering. We saw that with the Industrial Revolution, with the Scientific Revolution. Yeah, this potentially is depending on how this model, works out. If it's really available as early as next year, this could be the start of the robotics revolution and might change the nature of what it means to be a human in a human world forever. And this opens up a lot of possibilities. There's perhaps the dark possibility, which in a world of scarcity and inequality, those who are rich and have resources might use this leverage to increase that chasm between the haves and the have-nots. And that's where you end up in a world that's very much like the cyberpunk dystopian stories and tales that we've seen and read and studied for years. But this also opens up the door if we're willing to approach abundance mentality and bring a generous heart and a good heart to helping everyone on this planet thrive. Like, there's some massive possibilities of living in a post-scarcity world where humans can focus on the things that they find beautiful and valuable, and perhaps there's a possibility to conquer the toil that seems to be part of our world since early on. That's as a Christian, we've got the story that in the Garden of Eden, there's the curse after Adam and Eve fell and ate the apple. And part of the curse is that by the sweat of your brow shall you eat bread. So the world is cursed and people are cursed with that toil. And there's an interesting world here where in some ways we may, through working hard and creating these, be able to minimize and reduce the amount of toil and the amount of human suffering that's in the world. Like when robots became available, like this could create a way for us to put an end to global poverty and houselessness and hunger. Like these things are possible. This is pretty wild, honestly. Like I feel we're on the brink of something that's going to be massive and going to reshape humanity. This feels like a really big announcement. Let's see where it goes. And as technologists, I think let's see how can we harness these for good, and also how can we add safeguards to prevent them from being used for evil or wrong purposes. If we're vigilant about that, about keeping our hearts pure and building things well, there's a lot of possibility here. The sky really is the limit, and I like that there are some people looking into how can we make that reality a possibility for everybody, and how can we make that affordable for everybody. These are great things to be doing. So, all right, that's all for today. Remember, like and subscribe, and I'm excited to keep building with you all and seeing what new technologies are on our horizon.